Hello, it is Topical Tuesday, March 16th. Yes, March 16th, 2021. I know that because tomorrow is St. Patty's Day. But anyway, Topical Tuesday, and the topic today I see all over the news and all over social media, all this stuff about all the mess that's going down on the southern border of the United States with all kinds of craziness going on and kids just coming across without their parents and all the drug smuggling and all the child trafficking and the cartels, this and that, and the overcrowding and the whatever. I mean, it's people are going crazy over this thing. So first of all, here's my this is my personal opinion: is I love immigration. Okay, number one, it is proof, despite all the rhetoric you hear from the anti-American leftists of the Obama, Bernie Sanders, AOC world, that America is some kind of a disgrace and a racist country and all this nonsense. Obviously, it's BS with all these people who are not white, American-born, white supremacists, whatever all the BS is all about, coming and doing anything they can and sacrificing everything and risking their lives and everything they've had just to get to this country. So proof it is the greatest country on earth. Number one reason I love immigration. But number two is when I see immigrants coming across, what I see is the second and especially the third generation, the grandkids of these immigrants coming into the country who are overwhelmingly going to be, by all the studies show, great contributors to America. They're going to be entrepreneurs. They're going to be freedom-oriented and self-reliance-oriented. I mean, the story they're going to tell, my mom, my grandpa, brought me here with nothing and had to make something of themselves, and we risked everything to get here. And so they're not going to be risk-averse like most 90% of Americans that want a job and want a set paycheck and want to hope they get a 3% raise every year and want everything, things that us as entrepreneurs and business owners, we can't even imagine, which is my point is of the whole video is my business owners, we can't imagine that people would like to live a life of having someone else tell them when to show up for work and when they can leave and how they should dress and what they need to do and how much they can make and to determine whether they get a 3% cost of living raise once in a while or wait for the government to please pass some kind of a law to increase the minimum wage because I refuse to make myself more valuable in the workplace, so I just hope somebody else demands that I'm more valuable, or all that kind of nonsense. We can't imagine that kind of stuff. But most people want to live that way, not immigrants. Overall, all the studies show more immigrants that come to this country than people born here are entrepreneurial minded, are self-reliance, freedom-minded. That's how they came here, right? They sacrificed everything. They're not going to grow up and suddenly decide to become risk-averse, okay? So second and especially third generation of these immigrants, all the studies point to, are going to be fantastic contributors to America. The issue, though, is that the first generation is absolutely a drain on America. That's the investment, that the country has to make an investment to take care of these first-generation immigrants who are not likely to be great contributors to America. They're likely to not assimilate, to not learn to even speak the language, to have no skills, no schooling, no education, they're only going to be able to do menial labor jobs, and they're going to take those jobs away from other people, and they're going to be a drain on society by getting all the social programs and cause all this trouble. But that's an investment that the country makes so that those second and third generations of those immigrants are great contributors to America. Of course, the question is right now, when our country is incredibly broke and with Obama 2.0 in control of everything in Washington, D.C. now and doing, 10 times more damage than he did the first time around, we are going into ridiculous, impossible to get out of national debt. Is this the time that we really think we can invest in the future by putting out money we don't have? My answer is, look, we're already spending money we don't have. So we might as well spend some more to invest in America. However, I am absolutely not a fan of this haphazard, chaotic, crisis-filled illegal immigration that's going on. All this nonsense and all the craziness, and especially people just crossing wherever they want. Living here in a border state in Arizona, I know people, and I know people who know people, and there's plenty of stories and plenty of people here who live in fear because they live near the border, and people are always sleeping in every morning. They have to go clean out the garbage, and they hear noise every night, and they wonder if this is the night that these people are not just migrants, poor migrants looking for a better life, but they're actually drug dealers and violent people that'll come into the home and cause trouble. All this goes on the border. I love hearing how, especially on social media or in the media, the legacy media itself, seeing people who have never lived in a border state or been anywhere near it. They live thousands of miles away pontificating on how, it's not a big deal and, blah, blah, blah. No, orderly, especially during the time where there's diseases out there. I mean, they're smacking down. Lots of states have all these requirements. You got to do this, you got to do that. You can't go here without a test and a vaccine and a mask and a this and a that and a whatever. But people can just stream across. We don't even know who they are. And, they're coming in possibly with a disease, possibly with drugs, possibly a lot of, definitely a lot of child trafficking going on. I mean, the whole thing is a mess. That, of course, I am not a fan of. I'm just saying that immigration in general, first of all, this country, in case you haven't noticed, maybe because you live in a bubble or in a city somewhere, there is a heck of a lot of empty space in this country. So there's a lot of room. And more people coming in means more construction, more housing has to go up, more schools have to go up, more businesses have to be created. The economy booms. All kinds of things happen when people come in. But again, I am not a fan of people doing anything haphazardly and illegally and sneaking in and whatever. I mean, there's a reason why sports stadiums have their stadiums, not just a big empty baseball or football field or basketball court where everybody can just walk up. No, that would be an insult to the people that pay $100 or $200 or $500 to get a good seat close to the action. I mean, of course you got to go through a turnstile and you got to have a ticket and you got to prove that you belong there and all that. And of course that's true about everybody's house and anything of value. You want order of people coming into, and not just haphazardly because they feel like it, coming into your house, coming onto your property, going into a stadium, going into a business, going into anywhere, going into the country. We don't like that kind of stuff. So we have this border crisis. We have this disaster. I mean, you got FEMA on the job there. That's the emergency disaster organization of the country. So clearly it's a disaster. And but here's the deal. These people that are complaining and bloviating about it's inhumane, the kids are sleeping on the floor, and excuse me? Hello. Think about it. Where do they come from? What was their life like for the last, say, 2-3 months, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years? Living in these hellhole countries of Guatemala, El Salvador, these war-torn, drug-infested, ridiculous countries. They risk everything to come here, some of them without even shoes on their feet, and they have to give everything they own to the drug cartels, to the traffickers, the coyotes, whatever. They traffic them up here, and they're threatened, and the women are sexually abused and raped on their way up. And so, number one, they're sleeping on the floor. In the United States of America, in the greatest country on earth, they are safe. They know for the first time in months, or maybe their entire lifetime, that they're not in fear of getting killed in the middle of the night by who knows what's going on. So they're not in fear of getting raped, killed. They're getting fed. They're getting some medical attention. There's some, air conditioning. It's kind of clean. They get some toys to play with. You see them coming up. They got maybe a kid's dragging one raggedy, dirty toy. Well, from what I've seen of the photos of these inhumane tents that are overcrowded, what are you talking about? Compared to what? So compared to the elitists who are bloviating about this stuff, who live in nice homes or in beautiful places, and they've grown up in America our whole lives, and having a 4 bedroom house and 2-car garage and vacations and go to Disneyland and do whatever. Like sleeping on the floor, that's horrible. In a tent, that's terrible. But think about it, to these people coming from the hellhole countries, sacrificing everything, risking everything, finally getting here, going, oh, fantastic, finally. I get to sleep on a floor in an overcrowded facility, but so what? I'm going to get some food. I might get some toys. I might just be able to sleep. I might be able to hang out and sleep without one eye open that I might get killed. So that's the point. That's what it means to your business, is you got to think relatively, not what you think about things from your perspective, but what your ideal target who is thinking, what your audience, your prospects are thinking. How do they see things? So, for instance, this happens all the time in hiring. I just said when we hire, I interview people and they're looking for, why'd you leave your last job? Well, not enough hours. I'm like, I don't know, who thinks like that? Well, 90% of Americans, most of the world, almost everybody thinks like that. They want more hours. They see themselves as a wage slave, that their value is only determined by how many hours they can dedicate to making someone else's dream come true. We always think in terms of value. They think in terms of things like hours, benefits, vacation time, all this kind of their perspective. But they want that. So you know what? I'll hire them. They actually want me to tell them what to do, how to dress, when to show up, what to say, how much money they can make. They want that life. So I'll hire them. Well, the same thing happens now. It's a small world thanks to technology. When you are hiring, you don't have to hire anyone local anymore. You can hire the absolute best person for the job, which often means they don't live in your area. If they're doing things that they can do online, website service, just about anything can be done online now, website services and any kind of writing services, graphic arts, this kind of things. I've got experts doing all this stuff, and they live all over the world. And one of the things people say is, well, that's you're really exploiting people when you hire them in some, godforsaken country and you're only paying them $300 a month. Like, you're exploiting those people. But again, think about it from their point of view, just like these migrants coming to the U.S. They love the fact they're in an overcrowded tent. Well, okay, they don't they would like better when they get out of there and get into some, although, some of them, when they get out of there, they go live in inner cities and ghettos with all the crime and the nonsense and the dirt and the, stress and the noise and whatever going on. They might look back and go, geez, it was okay being in that tent. At least we got the food and the medical attention and there were other kids to play with, and we got toys, and, it doesn't matter if they're in a shipping container or a tent or whatever. It's 100 times better than where they came from. Same thing when you're outsourcing, you're hiring people that live in other countries. Like, you can't think of it as like, well, I would never do all that for $300 a month. That's inhumane. Not to them. They're feeding their whole family with that $300 a month because they live in a country, in an area where the cost of living is 100 times lower than it is here in the U.S. So they're very happy with what you're paying them. So that's the lesson learned from this border disaster of Obama with his puppet Biden out there doing whatever he, Biden. You gotta credit Biden. His muscle memory is good enough that he can make the gestures and kind of voice the words. He's kind of, lifetime politician. He remembers the 50 years of being a politician. So he can pretty much read what's on the teleprompter and kind of, give a point or a lean in when it matters or say something, when he doesn't really know what he's saying and he's not in charge of anything, of course. So whoever's in charge, Obama, of course, and his minions, got you thinking that this is some kind of this is a terrible situation on the border and this is Biden's disaster or Obama's disaster or whatever. Think about it in terms of people coming over. They are in the greatest country in the world, soon to be released, to have the greatest opportunities they could never have anywhere else, certainly not where they were living. So that's the lesson. You got to think of things from other people's point of view, whoever you are looking to communicate with, prospects, potential partners, employees, suppliers, whoever it is. You got to think about things from their point of view, not get all caught up in what you personally feel about things. Would I personally like to go sleep on a floor in an overcrowded tent somewhere along the southern border with not being, oh, some of these kids don't get the shower for like 2 or 3 days. Like, how about that's their first shower in 3 months, dude? Like, wow. They don't get the shower for 3 days. How about they're thinking, holy crap, I get the shower 2 or 3 times this week. I haven't showered for months. And when I showered back home in El Salvador, the water was crappy. I was drinking out of an infested, crappy, disease-filled river. That's where we got our water every day. Now I get a clean shower every couple of days. This is fantastic. Like, think about it from other people's point of view. Don't get all caught up in your personal beliefs or thoughts about whatever you're offering or whatever you have. That's the lesson to learn from the disaster that Obama has created through his puppet Biden on the U.S. southern border. It's a disaster if that's the way you want to look at it, but for the people coming here, it is paradise to be in the United States, and they can go through whatever they got to go through for a short time in these holding pens or whatever, kids in cages, whatever, for a short time. We as entrepreneurs certainly gone through all kinds of crap for a short time, long time. I mean, businesses that have been shut down in these left-wing states for a year have gone through a crap load of crap. We as entrepreneurs know how to go through ups and downs. So that's what they're doing there. And they're temporarily know that, okay, we'll go through this. And in fact, it's better than where we were anyway. And then we're going to leave and have a life of opportunity to make of it what we can here in the United States of America. That's my message today on Topical Tuesday. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching on the replay. And I'll be back tomorrow on World Wide Web Wednesday with some business building tips of how you can make more profit using the internet. Catch you then. Over and out. All right.